Welcome to Scorched Earth and a general reading for the sign of Scorpio, Sun, Moon or Ascendant for the month of June. I hope you're well. I'm using the Llewellyn Tarot for you today. So what do I have to tell you? By the time you watch this, Mercury retrograde will probably be in effect. If not, will certainly be in the shadow period leading up to it. I'll close the window in a second when the cauldron's burned down. So nothing to be worried about, but usual rules of surviving retrograde apply. So try not to enter into any contracts unless you absolutely have to. If you do have to, make sure that you double and triple check what you are signing yourself up to, because you don't want it coming to bite you on the arse later on. Try not to start anything new, but it's a good time to complete things that you have already started. With it being in Gemini this year, miscommunications are very likely to occur. People are going to find it really difficult to articulate what they are feeling, what they are thinking. You will feel that, but other people will feel that too. So with that in mind, try not to take to heart too much things that people say during this period. I think it's the 29th of May. I think Mercury goes retrograde properly, and it will go direct on the 22nd of June, but there is a 2-week shadow period either side where that energy is either building or waning. So it's still sort of in the mix a little bit. We could see travel disruption, could see, issues with technology failing, just randomly going wrong. Tends to do that sort of thing. So the best use of the energy is to really be in a state of reflection. Tying up loose ends is a good one. Thinking about your past and lessons that you have learned from the past, that's also useful. And be aware that this is a time that could see old people reappearing from the past. Now, people that appear, or even situations that appear in a retrograde, Mercury retrograde, very rarely stay. It's not the purpose of the energy. It's to allow you to bring closure to some sort of situations. So bear that in mind before you go, texting an ex. Or, consider very carefully what you might do if an ex texts you also. So if this reading resonates with you, there will be an extended at the end. You can access that in the description box below. There'll be a link that'll take you to Vimeo. So let's have a look and see what's going on with Scorpio, please. We have the Four of Wands in your recent past. I like that. That's a nice card. What about current energy for Scorpio, please? We have the Justice card. That's cool. That's Libra in the Major Arcana. And what is coming towards Scorpio for June, please? We have the Empress. This is really positive, a really positive set of cards. We do have the Ten of Wands at the bottom of the deck, but we have the Nine of Cups and the Hanged Man directly after it. The Ten of Wands is a card of burden, right? It's a card of things being too hard. And it's a card that asks you to consider what it is that you're doing that you don't really need to be, right? Where are you putting your energy where you don't need to? Are you doing things the difficult way around? Whoa, and as I say that, I just got a massive twitch right around my eye. What could you do differently? Because I think that certainly this is probably still ongoing, as is this eye twitch now. This is ongoing, but what you have discovered of late is, no, you haven't discovered, you've started changing your perspective on a number of things, and part of that is your own personal happiness, right? Taking responsibility for it, for sure, but actually engaging with the idea that you want it. Like that you want peace, you want harmony, you want actually something that isn't dramatic and hard work all of the time. I think for a lot of Scorpios, you are waking up to the idea that it is okay for you to be happy, right? That not everything needs to be plotted and schemed in advance for the avoidance of pain. You know, sometimes it's okay to just be open and accepting and live in the moment with no expectation and no pre-planning or anything, just to be, frankly. Let's have a look and see what the clarifiers have got to say before we get any further with this. These are shuffle. Eyelids twitching furiously. All of a sudden. I just did Capricorn before I did your reading and it was not doing anything even like that. So, tell me about this Four of Wands, please. Thank you. We have the Queen of Swords and we have the Chariot. Beautiful energy, both of those. Tell me about Justice. Eight of Swords in the reverse. Love it. Justice. I had the Queen of Wands. That's Aries energy, interestingly. What about the Empress, please? Where's the Empress here for Scorpio? We have the Knight of Cups. It's just fallen out onto the table there. And the Empress. Oh, and the Ace of Wands. Oh. We've got the Seven of Wands at the bottom of the deck with the Page of Cups and the Two of Cups. This card has been following you around for months now, Scorpio. It does deal with, you know, relationships of any sort. They don't have to be romantic, but there's usually an emotional component to it somewhere. It doesn't have to be. Sometimes it's business relations and stuff like that, but ultimately it's about intimacy for me, and this has been a theme for you for a while. We also have the Page of Cups and the Seven of Wands here, and it seems like there is a slow burgeoning realization that you do cut yourself off from intimacy, right? You guard against it very, very strongly because intimacy equals vulnerability, and that is something that you have been avoiding your entire life. But with this Page of Cups in the middle, like, this feels like acceptance. This feels like a low-level acceptance of this, you know, of a desire to change what has always been hitherto the way that things have gone. I think intellectually you have all known, because it has been a conscious choice, that you have guarded against it. You know, that it just is what it is. But things have been so hard at times that it feels like you're coming to a place where you're like, actually, there's probably a different way to do this. Like the Ten of Wands there. It's like, have I been making life really, really hard for myself? Possibly. Is what is inside more terrifying than the idea of living like this for the rest of my life? Probably not, you know, because I am capable, I am sovereign. I can make my own decisions. We'll come back to this. So in your recent past, we have the Four of Wands. This is often called the wedding card, interestingly enough, and it is a card that can talk about twin flames, which I try not to talk about very much because everybody has it asked backwards, you know, what a twin flame relationship is, and we try not to do that. But it is the creation of a new foundation. And there's such a sense of conscious release associated here with this for me. We've got, you know, these, it's just a really beautiful scene. There's peace here, Scorpio, and this isn't accidental. It's been really hard won, because what we've got is the Queen of Swords and the Chariot card underneath here. There is that discerning energy. There is making really, really strong decisions, possibly cutting people out of your life, cutting other things out of your life. So I'm looking out of the window and there is a crow on the guttering next door, digging about. She's balanced on the edge of the guttering. You had a message, a really profound message delivered to you from the universe, and you heard it. And I think that not only have you heard it, you've stopped hiding from it now, because I think it's something that you've always known. There you go. So, Four of Wands, peace, harmony. But coming by way of some really difficult decision making by you. It seems like you've had to do an about face here. And maybe you've had to walk away from some people, or maybe you've had to turn and face yourself. But whatever it is, it has shaken something free, shaken something loose in you. Now, the Chariot card for me is well, it's a card that speaks of determination. It's a card of Cancer, if I haven't mentioned that already. It speaks of determination and willpower and self-discipline and all of these sorts of things, right? It talks about setting goals and achieving them. It talks about, you know, picking a direction and then going in it. But it speaks about a couple of other things too. It is primarily a card of the self. Now, I have these trifecta of characters here. We have the Charioteer and we have these two Sphinxes at the bottom here, and the Sphinxes are the duality that follows us around. So light and dark, night and day, good and bad, if you want to put it like that. Positive and negative, as in the way that things are charged, you know. And because we live in a duality consciousness, these really have to be held in balance for us to get anywhere and do anything. If they are out of balance, we cannot move forwards. Now, the Charioteer here is the point of integration between these two. He is the one who is in control of where these Sphinxes go, and he has to hold them in such incredible alignment. Otherwise, they're just going to pull off to the side, the Chariot's going to spin, you know, all that sort of thing. But interestingly, he's not using reins. He's doing all of this by the power of his mind. Now, this card can talk to me about shadow work. It can talk about digging really, really deep, not enjoying what you find, but going with it anyway. And integrating that into who you are, right? But it also talks about finding yourself in the midst of what has felt like very chaotic energy for you. Really chaotic. And that could be, you know, the chaos of the last year, the last 2 years, the last 5 years, or we could be talking decades here. Possibly for most of you, that it's a lifelong thing that we have going on here. But you seem to have touched base with a part of yourself that has brought you stunningly, I want to say stunningly, into alignment, Scorpio, because I'm looking at the cards here that are talking about balance, and we have the Four of Wands, we have that symmetry of the 4 wands in there. We have the Chariot, which is major arcana symmetry and balance, alignment. And we also have, in your current energy, the Justice card, the biggest energy of balance and alignment that there is. It is also a card of karma, and by that I mean consequences, the knowledge that every action has a reaction somewhere, and it is effectively neutral. The notion of karma is neutral. You know, you do something, it has consequences. Like, if you're interested in it, a friend of mine that's done an incredible video, really, really good video, it's in the recommended list on the channel, you should go and see it, because I think it explains it beautifully. But there's something of you that is coming into alignment on such a higher level. Right? There's no part of your life that is not affected by this here. And for the first time in a long time, you feel like you are standing in a state of balance. There's nothing pulling you too hard in either way. Because the cards that are clarifying it are the Eight of Swords in reverse and the Queen of Wands. And the Eight of Swords speaks of mental restriction. You may not have been the person who led you to this spot. You may not have been the person who put the blindfold over your eyes, you know, surrounded you with swords, left you on a fucking beach with the tide coming in. And you absolutely weren't the person who bound you up, but you have been the person who has chosen to stay there and not attempt to move yourself in any way. Now, on closer inspection on this card, this woman is not bound tightly. If she wriggled a bit, she could get her hands free, and she could take the blindfold off her eyes. She could see the swords around her, and she could navigate her way off that beach out of peril. But out of fear, she keeps herself stuck where she is. This is sometimes also a card of waiting for somebody else to rescue you, without realizing that that is never going to happen. Now, the fact that this has come out in the reverse for you is incredible, because this is a perception shift. This is an understanding of how you have kept yourself stuck in a pattern for a very, very long time, because you did not perceive how it was you who was keeping you stuck there. You know, there's a feeling of helplessness here, but there's almost learned helplessness by it. So you've developed a number of coping mechanisms that have allowed you to function, right? And probably for the most part, function quite well in lots of ways in the 3D world. You know, maybe you have a successful job, stuff like that. But when it comes to the sound of the water, the sound of the ocean, which is something that you should be, you know, really quite comfortable with, because you are a water sign and you are the deepest of the water signs. You're the deepest of all of the signs, frankly. The sound of that ocean has been enough to keep you absolutely paralyzed where you have been. Now, the fact that it's turning this way around is like, I'm not going to be stuck here anymore. I'm not going to hold still. I'm not going to do the things that have burdened me. You know, now I actually acknowledge that fact that I am burdened. I'm not going to do that anymore. I am looking for a way out. I'm going to save myself. And that is what you are doing here, Scorpio. You are saving yourself. We've got the Queen of Wands here next to it. The Queen of Wands is Aries energy. But it's, you know, it's fire sign energy. More generally, it could be that it refers to a person who has kind of shown you the light, and that's possible. It doesn't have to be female, it doesn't have to be a fire sign, just the characteristics of that. But there's a swell, there's an urge here to live. I see that very, very strongly. Very, very strongly. Queen of Wands is confident, she's dynamic, she's open. Like, I don't think that the Queen of Wands hides much, to be fair. But the Wand suit is all about living. It's all about experiencing. And to go from an 8 of Swords to a Queen of Wands, it's an increase in determination, in willingness, in an openness to experience. And it feels like it's indicating that there's been an aspect of your life that you have not engaged with that much. Now, interestingly enough, as I'm looking at this, and I've never noticed this before, and I probably won't notice it again in another reading, the Queen of Wands is sat on this throne here, which is on a stone plinth, and to her left there are pyramids, right? It's always associated with the wand suit. To her right, we have something that looks like it could be a river, actually. Now, it's kind of grey blue. It's probably more of an English person's perspective of, you know, a body of water than somebody who, say, lives in Zante or something like that, where the water is beautiful, almost unrealistically beautiful. But it looks like it's running alongside. And she has got her gaze turned over there, right? There's a willingness to engage with the body of water. There's a willingness to be seen. The cat is staring directly at me here. Let me pull another card for this, because this is absolutely drawing my eye in so hard. Tell me about this Queen of Wands. Thank you. We have the Empress and we have the Hanged Man. We have the Magician at the bottom of the deck. Right? Did I mention that I felt like the Hangman was in here somewhere? Probably not. I think I just thought it. But the Empress is already here on the table. This is what's coming towards you in June, right? But she's underneath this Queen of Wands here. And with the Hanged Man, we've got Pisces and Taurus energy respectively. The Hanged Man is about really submitting to something that is potentially uncomfortable in order to achieve wisdom, to gain enlightenment. And that feels like it's very much what's gone on with you here, Scorpio. But we then move to the Empress, who is about fertility and abundance. But more than that, she's stood there and she's flinging something out of her basket, and it's butterflies. Right? And all those butterflies are going up to encircle the sun. Butterflies are symbols of transformation, and the whole Scorpio sign is completely preoccupied with transformation. A Scorpio that does not allow itself to evolve and change and transform is a stuck, low vibrational Scorpio. What's going on here is profound. It's utterly profound. Because we have you wanting to make your life more than what it is. We have a submission to the fact that maybe the self-sabotage and all the things that you've engaged with your entire life, whilst they were self-protection mechanisms for a long time, they are now limiting you, and you are seeing truly, profoundly how they are limiting you. And your perspective is changing. And as you are releasing these butterflies that are encircling the sun, you are looking for joy. You are looking for a way to bring pure joy to your consciousness. And the Queen of Wands is sat here with this Ace of Wands, which is also a card that is coming towards you in June, and she is ready to use them. And let's face it, if you've got an Ace of Wands anywhere, what you want is somebody to be able to wield it. And who better than a king or a queen? And here she is. She's holding it, and she's ready to start living differently. This Magician card at the bottom of the deck here, with the moon, and following that, the Temperance card. You are powering up, Scorpio. You are becoming incredibly powerful because you are utilizing all of the tools that you have always had at your disposal. The moon, your internal place, your subconscious, that which you have been so terrified of hamstringing you, frankly, at times, is your greatest gift. What resides within you is incredible wisdom, should you choose to go look for it, and you are looking for it. And you are healing what is broken. You are healing what has been damaged by other people. You are healing the damage that you have done to yourself too. And you are completely reinvigorating what it is to be alive and a Scorpio in 2021. I've said a couple of times over the last few months that I felt like it could well everybody has these stereotypes, right, about the signs, and some of them are accurate and some of them are not. Some of them are just lazy archetypes. And where Scorpio is concerned, the lazy archetypes tend to be the ones that are applied. And I've spoken about this before, and I think it's because people don't understand what is going on with Scorpio at any point. So they've got this kind of shallow interpretation of what Scorpios are going through, what they are like, what they will do to you, that sort of thing. Maybe what we're seeing here is something that isn't revealed that often because of the amount of work that it takes to get here, but we are looking at the next evolution of the Scorpion, which is, the eagle and ultimately the phoenix, because Scorpio has the ability to evolve way beyond all of the other signs. Maybe you're headed for phoenix level here. Maybe you've done your eagle bit and now you're going for, phoenix. However it applies to you, there is a distinct, palpable shift in your energy. And it's powerful. And it's just the start, Scorpio. This is the thing that I feel really strongly. This is literally just the start of where you are going. Now, with this. What we've got in June is the Empress card here, again, for the second time, clarified by the Knight of Cups and the Ace of Wands. Now, if you want a really flat, boring interpretation of these cards, it could be that you've got a Taurus coming towards you and there's a nice little, you know, romantic, possibly deeply sexual relationship in the offing here. That might well be true for many of you, and I have to say Scorpio and Taurus actually as a partnership work really, really well, particularly when you're both in quite an evolved state, right? It's a really good pairing. But I like to look deeper than that. And what I see here is an opening up, like I said, to experience. There's an opening up to all that the 3D has to offer you, and more, in fact, because your connection to your emotions is, I think, something that tunes you in really rather hard with every other fucking dimension that is open to us that we don't generally perceive, right? It's balanced again. We have this balance of the 3D, and then we have this other energy. We have this Knight of Cups, which is open, emotionally open, Scorpio, and moving. You know, the Ace of Wands is the opportunity to live differently. That's how I see that, right? And it can be, you know, new creative projects and things like that. But we have here a Queen of Wands. And you're understanding now that you have kept yourself limited and trapped for a very long time. This Queen of Wands energy, which I do feel is yours, is this readiness to start living differently. You know, your will to live has been ignited, right, by the exposure to the infinite possibilities that are open to you if you start getting used to navigating your own depths, if you cease to be frightened of your own depths. This is what it feels like here. It feels like you're opening all of this up. Now, so you might not be sharing this with people yet, but Scorpio, it's not going to be long before people around you are going to start noticing the difference, because this is big, even for a sign who is, you know, notoriously private. It's changing everything about you. Tell me about this Knight of Cups and Ace of Wands, please. Yeah, we've got the Devil and we've got the Ace of Wands. You absolutely refuse to be bound by those things that have kept you trapped all of this time. We now have the Queen of Wands here. Beg your pardon, King of Wands at the bottom of the deck. So we've got King of Wands, handsome devil that he is there. That's Leo energy. We also have the Queen of Wands. Everything about the way that you choose to live is changing. You have two aces and you have the King and the Queen. Now, with an ace apiece, you are going to be unstoppable, Scorpio, very, very soon, because you're tapping into something really next level here. You're choosing to turn your back on old coping mechanisms, old ways of doing things, ways that you thought you were keeping yourself safe, that you were keeping yourself free, but you were actually just tethering yourself to the things that really frightened you. With the avoidance of pain all of the time. Now, June feels like a pivotal month for a lot of reasons. I feel like there's something coming in new, but it's not necessarily being wanged at you by the universe. This is something possibly that you've been working on for a while. You know, the Empress energy is all about abundance and bringing new things into the life. She's often depicted as pregnant because she is gestating something new, right? And it's all about your lived experience. There is a change to your lived experience coming in. Now, we're going to get into this in the extended, see what this ace is all about here. But in the abstract, and I have to talk generally in the abstract because these are general readings and they're not specific. It feels like June is really, really important in terms of where you go. Not where you drift to, not where you're pushed to, but where you choose to go, right? There's a shift in direction happening here for you this month. So, like I said, I'm going to go over to Vimeo now and kind of pull this apart a little bit and see what's going on, because I am like endlessly nosy in that. But do you know what? There isn't a sign that I've read for that hasn't had June be pivotal. I haven't actually kept up with the astrology. I'm so fucking like overrun with things that I'm doing at the moment, but it's almost to the degree that I feel like there must be something really big going on in the heavens at the moment, because it's affecting everyone, at least in the pocket of people that I read for. Like, everybody is having a kind of life-changing month in June, and you are no different here. Like, this is big, Scorpio. So off to Vimeo I go. If you're interested in joining me, the link is in the description box. If not, no shade. I'll see you on Monday for the weekly reads. But in the meantime, know that I love you all very, very much, and I will see you soon.